bringing you the latest news, game updates, insights, highlights, and everything Liberty Hockey. This is Rock the Rink, where Liberty Hockey lives.
Welcome back to the Rock The Rink podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. A fun weekend in Liberty Hockey. A lot going on. We have a lot to break down today. All teams are rolling in action, so let's get right into it. This week's Rock The Rink podcast is brought to you by Virginia Army National Guard. The next greatest generation is now, and it begins with you. Get a head start on your career in exciting fields like science, communications, engineering, and medicine, along with tuition assistance in the Virginia National Guard. To learn more about the Virginia Army National Guard, check out Join VA Guard on Facebook and Instagram, or email us at nationalguard@liberty.edu. That's nationalguard@liberty.edu. And it's also Military Appreciation Month. Liberty's going to be celebrating that at their games next weekend, so pretty fitting. But let's talk about the men's D1 team, guys. We didn't have a podcast last week, so we didn't really get to talk about...
I'm sorry.
No, it was more my fault. I didn't have a voice.
We had football. It was a busy week.
Yeah, it was a busy week. But... we didn't get to talk about that weekend against Stony Brook. Yeah. You know, I feel like coming off of it, it was a pretty encouraging weekend overall. It was what you wanted to see the group do against a team of that caliber. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Any other thoughts from you, Rhett?
I think, too, against a rival, like, you never know what a rivalry game is going to be like. And I thought Liberty played pretty well overall and woke up, certainly, in Game 2. And I'll say this about Coach Garofalo's squad. I think that's a Stony Brook team that I've kind of been worried about over the last couple of years. Like, are they... you know, like I'm going to call out NYU, but like an NYU, how they've kind of tailed off and they haven't really been a prominent name at the D1 level, with Stony Brook heading in that direction. But that's a team that has some talent, like some young talent. I think they're going to be back in the limelight in a couple of years. So it's not a team that is like a bunch of scrubs by any means. Yeah. So I think Liberty had to play pretty well, and I thought they did play an overall pretty solid weekend.
Yeah, I think, too, for Liberty, you were pretty depleted that weekend, too.
Yeah,
so to see other guys step up and find other line combinations, like that was pretty refreshing, too, because, like you said, when it's a rivalry game, everything goes out the window.
It totally does.
Absolutely. The Stony Brook seemed to have some new young talent there. Rhett, was there anyone in particular that stood out for you?
Gosh, that was 2 weeks ago.
Justin Nakagawa.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he was solid. Yeah, I thought he was good.
Big-time playmaker.
Yeah, their goalie was pretty good, too. Night 1, he was great. Night 2, like, Liberty played better.
Number 70, I think. Yeah. Oh, see, like 2 weeks ago, I don't remember his name. That looks so bad. Yeah.
No.
Sorry to put your voice on the
spot. They had some solid players. So I'm trying to go through some of the names in my mind. They'll pop up. Just give me a sec. Yeah, I just gotta kind of go through my brain here of what exactly I was. But Nakagawa had some good looks, and then. Goodness. The guy that came back from injury that was going to play this year, I know he's a veteran on the Nespany. He was, I thought he looked really solid for them too. And good to see him playing hockey again. Like you always want to see a guy be able to finish his collegiate career. And that was the case for Nespany as well. So some young talent. Nakagawa kind of leads the case in that regard. But again, I think the way that Garofalo recruits in that area and up and down the eastern seaboard, this is a team that won't be down for too much longer.
And interesting, looking ahead at the schedule, this might be one of the first years we haven't done a home and home with Stony
Brook. We're not going to the rinks?
Yeah. After last year, some stuff happened at the rinks that we were like, I don't think we're going back this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Give them a year off.
Okay.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, and when we play them next year, I guess. Unless we see them in nationals.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
It's actually kind of funny. I was trying to get a hold of Coach Garofalo during the week. He's a busy guy. I don't blame him at all. But I called the rinks. They couldn't get me in touch with him. I actually had to end up calling Stony Brook University, and they were like, they didn't have like a contact for him for some reason. And so they sent out like a university alert. So like, yes, this lady, her name was like Justine or something. She's like, we're going to get this taken care of. Because I kind of pushed it a little bit. I was like, I'm with ESPN with the broadcast.
Oh,
like, we're going to get this figured out.
Yeah,
all of a sudden I see like
drop.
On my email, it's like Stony Brook alert, like Chris Garofalo and Stony Brook hockey must respond to ESPN and Annie Corey immediately.
So
and like 5
funny.
minutes later, I get a phone call. Hey, this is Coach Garofalo. What's going on? I'm like,
really
sorry, Coach, it's not that deep, but so.
Here, I pulled up the roster here. I'm trying to find a couple of guys that I thought were solid overall.
I've noticed a lot of big time coaches do that. You just can't find their contact information.
Yeah.
Like you want to talk to Nick Saban, you can't do it. Yeah.
Can't get
Well, the
it.
one
It's not just public email out there.
Yeah.
The one thing too I noticed is they had size, which is good for them. I know that just sounds like I'm trying to make up things on the fly. That was good, but that Kozicki is another one that's good. The goaltender Barnico I thought was solid night one, and they just had they have got some seasoned veterans like Mancini, I believe, was their defenseman, their captain, who had been around for a while as well. It's just it's a good group. It's a good group. I think they will trend in the right direction. And you look at young teams like that, especially under a guy like Garofalo. I think you come to the ESCHL championship, they could be a team that could be in the mix. Like I do think Niagara's probably going to. Oh, they're independent this year.
Yeah. And also, too, Drexel won it last year.
Yeah.
Like
so
the tournament.
Yeah, don't
Never
count
know.
out Stony Brook too early.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up Barnico too, because that's something I didn't get to talk about over the weekend. But Coach did make a big point to where in his freshman year, he came in, he was expecting to get some playing time. He didn't get see many games at all, and he was like, I hate this. I'm not doing this. And so he went home and he completely transformed his entire body. He's so much lighter, can move so much quicker. And Coach came back. It's who is this guy? And and so now it's his senior year and he's the consistent starter. So good for him. It was fun talking to him about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So something we didn't get to share over the weekend. It was pretty cool.
Work hard. Don't hit the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
That's right. But now Niagara, another team that's been on the rise over the years.
Yes.
Coach, what's his name? I love this guy.
Coach Meridian.
Yes, Meridian. Tom Meridian. Yeah, great guy. And he's been doing great things with the program.
Want some?
Sorry, guys. It's been a little too long. But, Liberty goes up there. You come away with 2 ties, technically, but you lose in 2 shootouts. And I know it's for Coach Handy, that's not really what you want to see coming off of a series like Stony Brook. We're feeling pretty good about what you were able to do. But Niagara's a good team. You got to give it to them.
I'm curious. I want to hear Pat's thoughts first. I have my own thoughts. I want to hear Pat's.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the game.
that's okay.
So that's tough.
But
But
that's flow hockey.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm chirpy.
but it's tough too
Brutal.
because you have 2 good games goaltending wise,
Right.
and you just can't close that out in the shootout. And to me,
Or overtime. Right.
overtime. And I feel there's something. I don't know. There's something was going on that weekend. I don't know. Maybe the guy stayed up late or something.
Went to the falls.
That's right.
Yeah.
They look pretty great
But
at night.
I don't really have an answer because this was also too one of your first games back with most of your team.
And that could be that could be a part of it too.
Yeah, trying to make some adjustments and because I know the first night lines were kind of changed about, and then the second night were kind of more what we're used to seeing. So since I didn't get to watch, I don't really have a really good grasp on what the games would be.
You got any thoughts, Kerr?
None for the podcast.
Okay.
Put it that way.
This is my take, and this is more of a generic take. I am not overly worried about tying 2, if you will, dropping 2 to shootout on the road against a Niagara team that's very good, because I feel like more than years previous, Liberty on the road this season has some fight, and they are staying in games. In years past, it felt like if you go on the road and you play against a good team, it's automatically either 2 losses or a split. And so I know that this is going to count as quote-unquote 2 losses, but the fact that you were in overtime, tied, going through this, learning how to win on the road in tough environments or what the game is like, I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think this is great lessons for this Liberty team. I like the resolve that they have, the ability to fight through adversity, especially on the road. And like any team, power play clicking on the road is the key. So that, I think, really, when you look at this Liberty team are we at the quarter mark yet? Probably.
We are.
Yeah.
Quarter
for
mark.
sure.
I would say everything looks really, really good, solid. I think this is a national championship caliber team. I really do. The one area, though, and just like teams in the NHL, when they go in the playoffs, you have to be able to capitalize on the power play.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that's going to get you in the end is if you can't score a timely power play goal here and there, you're going to end up losing. And so for Liberty, it's just the power play has got to get clicking. I don't know what it was this weekend, so I'm kind of
7.
okay. So honestly not surprised. If you can score on 2 of those, you're winning. That's the key. Yeah. Or at least you're splitting the weekend. So power play has got to find a way to put pucks in the back of the net, and if you do that, I don't I really believe this Liberty team could be lifting a little hardware at the end of the year. That's my honest thought.
Is it hard on the power play when you have so many skilled guys and shooters where it's just typically you have all right, if you're the Capitals, working around, set up Ovechkin for a one-timer, right? Is it one of those like, okay, we have so many options that you might not be able to hone in on like your go-to?
Yeah, I think you just have to be real honest and blunt. Like, who's the guy that's going to be on the trigger guy on power play 1?
Yeah.
Calendike. I know he's had a slower start but he's still your guy. He's earned that right to be that guy. And then you figure out who's your number 2 option, and then who's your number 3. Like I really do believe that Liberty has 3 options they could have on both power plays to make things happen. Now, do you want to split it up a little bit? Like Pomerleau has great vision on the power play. Does a good job of getting pucks on net. But then you have Cable. If he kind of reminds me of Zane Sharts a little bit from years previous. Where you remember Zane?
Oh yeah,
Were you here
yeah,
that time?
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
And that was the 1T was definitely a weapon, but you don't have to break the glass with it. You just need to get that bad boy on net.
Yeah.
So take a little bit off. Gain some more accuracy, more goals. I believe will go in when it comes to the 1T play. But I would personally, I'd have your PP1 line, I'd have your PP2 line. I'd set them not in stone completely, but I would lock them in for the most part, and then I would make them compete. Who is going to be PP1? Who is going to be PP2? Doesn't matter to me as the coach. I just want to score goals.
Yeah.
What you guys decide who's power play 1, and then the urgency will come, and I think the puck will start going in a little bit more. But that's just kind of my thought. Like I have so many others. Like Finch, I know he's back. I'd love to see what he did on the power play this past weekend. I'm sure he's creative. I want to see him shoot more. DeBrito has got that great curl and drag shot. I'd love to see them find a way that he can be put in a spot to do that somewhat as well on a more consistent basis. And teams are starting to read it. So for him as a first-year guy, he's going to have to figure it out. Like teams have tape on Liberty. That's the one disadvantage of having a broadcast is that they know what you're going to do.
A crisp.
Yeah.
Crisp broadcast.
They're not blurry players out there.
No, yeah.
So
Everything is crisp.
They know what they know what the deal is. So I really just think put guys in a spot to take advantage of their natural given talents, lock them in, make them compete against one another, and I think from there the percentage will rise. There's too much talent for it not to rise. It's going to be able to figure out sooner or later. But I do think there's an element of dumb it down a little bit, make it more simple. And you know what? The last game at home, and I know they went over 7 on the road, but against Stony Brook in game 2, they started to do a high cycle, which I really liked. And I think there could be more of that in the future that would benefit the Flames. And I have other thoughts as well, but that I'm not the coach, and I can kind of get on my high horse.
Yeah, and to keep your coaching hat going here, how do you do everything you just said when the lineups have been so inconsistent with guys in and out?
Yeah, and that's really great. I don't know the honest answer to that, but I think, I don't know. Pat, you got a thought?
Well, I had my thought. That was going to be my takeaway. Like, well, when you're, like we said a minute ago, like this is one of your healthiest lineups since the first game. So like you can't really have a consistent power play. But I think too, Rhett said something kind of, if your power play is struggling and trying to find a way to keep it simple, I think what you did in the Stony Brook weekend is kind of what you should do. You're trying to more so obviously look for a high-quality shot, but get a shot on net and then put back a rebound. Because you scored, if I'm not mistaken, you had 11 goals that weekend. 9 of them were on putbacks.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, I think once you get to, and we say it multiple times on the broadcast, once you get to a certain level of goaltending, you're not going to be able, point blank shots just don't work always for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. I like big bodies in front too. Like Tucker Shields to me would be a staple on one of the power plays. Just put that guy in front.
Yeah.
He can clean up the trash. Just love what he does.
Absolutely.
I really like Tucker Shields a lot.
Yeah. But I do think once, and I don't know the status of a couple more guys that are out right now. Like if they're back this weekend, which is a huge series, so hopefully they are, like you'll see a much different power play than I think we've seen the last 3 weekends in a row, truthfully. And I think it's going to also, we'll see the percentage probably click up a little bit more too.
Yeah.
One thing moving forward too, and it's hard to remember all this stuff, and that is I can't remember if this happened, so correct me if I'm wrong. If a guy gets hurt, I feel like, now I don't have this as fact, that they changed up the whole power play unit a bit. Like, there was multiple bodies that moved. Part of me is like, just plug and go. Like, if one guy's down, plug in one and stick with that 4 constants, as opposed to trying to reimagine the line a little bit. Now, it's hard because there's been so many bodies out, to your point, that it's almost like 3 guys on the power play's gone. Then you have to make a massive change, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But again, I'm not. I think it's Coach Burt that's running the power play. Like, he knows what he's doing. We've had a successful power plays in years past. Sometimes you just start off a year like this. Like, you could point to Toronto. The Leafs right now have the worst power play in the NHL.
I believe it.
They have some of the toppest endest talent and that there is top end talent, but they're just not getting it done. And sooner or later, the dam will break and the puck will go in and you'll get on a roll. But right now, it's just not happening for LU.
Yeah, and I believe if you look at the stats from this past weekend, in both games, they were outshot by twice the amount of shots that Niagara took. So yeah, like you were saying, Pat, just sometimes getting the shot on net and letting guys go to work with the rebounds, all that kind of stuff can help out. But also Niagara, pretty solid season at this point so far. Their only losses have come to an NCAA D3 team in an exhibition game and to Maryville. They split with them as well. So they're doing some exciting things up there. I remember last year they had a lot of freshman talent that coach was like, keep an eye on these guys. They're going to be really good. And then you look at this year, they're their top 2 scorers so far this season. So exciting things coming up for them. And Liberty's going to see them again in January at home. So that'll be a fun series to watch. Yeah, it's always a good series.
It's a fun team to cover. Like, I think that's one thing, we love the Flames first and foremost, truthfully. But we do enjoy watching other programs. And Niagara is one of those programs I do enjoy when they come into Liberty. I'm like, this is going to be a good weekend of hockey. It's kind of like your Maryville or your Ohio coming in this weekend. You just know, okay, I'm set up for 2 quality games here. This is going to be enjoyable. Niagara, one of those teams.
Yeah, and it's funny because you guys have been around it a lot longer than I have, but it's even fun for me at this point where it's like my 4th, 3rd year around Liberty hockey, and it's like I've seen these programs from year to year, and I can only think, like, for you guys, seeing them over the years now, it must be fun seeing a program like Niagara kind of come up and prove themselves the way that they have. But Ohio coming into town this weekend, that's going to be a really fun one. Pat, have the rankings been updated? I haven't really looked.
The computer rankings, though,
the other day. Yeah, so they're currently 4th. And Ohio weekend will be interesting because we talked about earlier, new coach, right? They're running a different system. Right, it's not as high octane offense as it was last year, and exactly right. Like so, like, and I feel like, I mean, truthfully, like they got us. We talk about it always, like in the pre-pod stuff before the season starts. Seats at the table, right, for the Natties. Like they're at there, and we thought that even when Coach Marone was running the ship, the new guy, he's definitely got them building towards that. Right now, so like it'll be interesting to see. Like this will be. I feel like and it's not like these contests aren't ever physical. I think this will be one of the most physical games we've seen between Liberty and Ohio in a while, and also probably a very tight scoring game too. It's probably going to be a 1-goal game on either side, whoever takes this one.
This is just a dangerous team. They're fun to watch. They have some of the most dangerous players in the nation. Like, as much as I feel like we've been gypped as Liberty fans. Yeah, we've always wanted to see Reeve play, but like he comes here and he gets absolutely hammered. I believe it was
game 1. Yeah, like basically
it was Matt Bartel, right?
Minutes,
and Matt Bartel doing what he should. He finished a check, just absolutely crushed the guy. It was a great hit, good job, and it works out for the Flames in that sense. But like he had
COVID the year before.
I'm ready.
It like set the tone for that game.
It really
did.
Like that was a big hit. Right? Like you need your guys to do that. Liberty's gonna have to come out and do that again. And then Aldridge. It was funny. I think he was battling injury last year when he was here, right? But he's another one where if he's healthy, he just has a motor to go with the hands. Like he's a lot of fun to watch. So this is a team that, Liberty fans are going to hate hearing me say this, but if I had to pick a team right now that was like my odds-on favorite to win it this year, I'd probably pick Ohio. I just think with the talent,
I think most people would.
And just I don't know about their goaltending. Is Buddy still there?
I don't know.
No.
Damon.
He was Damon.
Sorry, Takani's is
D words.
I'm pretty sure Damon's gone.
Okay.
So
I think so. I glanced at the roster.
And so's the one of the better puck handlers on the back end, Sam Turner. He's gone too. So but. They're still finding ways to get it done.
Yeah. I'm sure they've probably focused more defensively as well. Like, their coach is a guy that's been at Miami of Ohio NCAA level for years. He knows the importance of taking care of your own zone. And if this team can take care of their own zone, they're going to be able to put the puck in the net. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it'll be changing the mindset too because this Liberty team knows this Ohio team.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, like,
Good for
and I mean, yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
And like, kind of, it's very similar. Like, they had an overhaul of guys the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We've had an overhaul of guys the last 2 years. So, like, but I mean, honestly, yeah, like I said a minute ago, throw out what you've known in the past about this team because both teams obviously have dangerous players, but like, that's not going to be the type of game we're going to be seeing this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can't wait. I'm kind of bummed. I don't get to call these games this weekend. I'm on volleyball on Friday, and then Saturday I'm producing the hockey game, so that'll be fun.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, in the
way.
booth.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get those replays
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
in the back.
Yeah, another
Whisper
boy.
sweet nothing
Yeah.
in my ear. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, it's like you said, like a lot of guys, their top guys are returning. And aside from Aldridge and Reeve, you still have like Matthew O'Vare did a really nice job last year,
Yeah.
Hollander
Holt's still there.
Thompson, guys like that. And I was surprised too to look at like Reeve and Aldridge. Like I would expect at least by now they're seniors, but they're like juniors.
Yeah,
still,
it's
like,
just third year for them.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
feel like they've been around a good amount, but we've never gotten to see those
Right.
two kind of on the same ice. Both, I mean, I assume they're healthy as of right now, but I honestly don't know. But yeah, hopefully, because it'll be fun just to see two somewhat full strength teams
Yeah.
going at it. That'll be fun.
I was curious if O'Vare was still there,
Yeah, he's there.
but yeah, I was wondering if he
Because
has.
he was like a Marone recruit.
Yeah,
right?
and he was from the same hometown, I
Yeah,
believe, right?
uh-huh.
And so I was kind of wondering, like, he had some ability, like skating ability, and whatnot. I kind of was wondering if they try to give him a look at like an NCAA program to see if he could hang. But
Yeah, as far as I know.
yeah, good to see.
As
him still
of this
in Ohio.
morning, he's
I like
still
it.
there.
Yeah, as of this morning.
Yeah.
Like, guys, I'm going NCAA this weekend. Yeah, changing schools.
That's right.
Yeah. So in terms of Liberty, though, I mean, shoot, to beat a team like this Ohio team, I don't know the health update with the guys from last weekend, but
Right.
you got to think it's just got to be what we were talking about. Just try to get shots on net, you
Yeah.
know, and go to work because you have the skill to combat what the other team has.
Yeah, I truly do think so. Like, I think, obviously, I think that's the biggest thing for Liberty, right? Obviously, take your chances when you can, but like to get a feel for the game, because we've seen also too the last few home series, Liberty starts off a little slow. Outside of that Stony Brook game 2, like it takes them a bit to get into it, and like we talked about with Maryville, you start off slow. You give a team enough a lead, it's going to be hard for you to come back. You do that again this weekend with Ohio, it's going to be really hard for you to get back.
Ohio's
going to
start hot.
Right, exactly. And they're going to be, like, truthfully, like, on the schedule right now, this is Liberty's biggest rival. I think because
for sure.
based off of the roster makeup, like, these are two teams that don't like each other.
That's true. Yeah,
So.
love it.
Yeah. Where's Liberty at right now in the rankings? I just haven't
They
seen.
were 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
And so I think they are 6th,
Okay.
and so I don't know where
There's-
they'll be after
the
this
reason
weekend.
why-
They'll still be in the top 10, though.
Yeah, for those at home, like that kind of wonder why are you not up to date on the rankings? That first computer ranking is so wonky. That's what like
it's all
Calvin's
over.
number 2 in the country, I think, right now.
Yeah, and Jamestown
Number 1.
should be number 1.
Yeah, and I'm down with that one. Jamestown,
Yeah.
the
Jimmy's.
they're,
The
they're-
Jimmy, yeah.
they
Yeah.
are where they
Flames are 6. Just looked it up.
Yep.
Flames are 6.
6. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ohio 4.
Right.
There's so much. The first couple rankings when the computer gets involved is so like there's a lot of
Yeah.
change. It's kind of like give it a couple weeks.
Yeah, let it settle in a little bit. But it's going to be an exciting matchup. Another exciting matchup from this past weekend. The women's D1 team, first
Yep.
ever midnight
There you
game.
go.
Oh, yeah.
OT winner. I mean, what better way to cap off the night or the early morning?
What time did that one?
Yo, I have no idea.
Overtime.
Very
That
early,
game?
honestly.
Did it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
that is the one
Yeah.
beauty.
I think I was home at 2:30.
Because I guess if you don't
Yeah.
have like media timeouts and stuff like
Yeah,
that, it's
yeah.
a little bit better. But
And
yeah,
the women's
Maddie
game,
Glenn.
there's less whistles. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
They just,
can be.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
Go both ways.
There's periods of time in this midnight game where it was like 3-4 minutes without a whistle.
Yeah.
It rolled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great hockey.
Gosh. Yeah, but what a way to end it for the Lady Flames. Kerr, I mean, could you just give us like a behind the scenes look at
yeah.
how they handled it, how much fun they had? Because the crowd was great. It looked like a blast.
No, it's a great question, Annie. So for me personally, like it was unreal, right? I've been with this program for a long time, as many of us have, and back in 2014, 15, when I first started, where it was until the fact that we could get a midnight game with a couple hundred fans. It was unbelievable. But got to ask a lot of the girls like their perspectives this morning. They're like, "Oh, it was unbelievable. It's going to be so hard to play in front of a not midnight game type of crowd now." Yeah, they were certainly fired up, and you could tell there was definitely some like brother, sister dorm people who didn't understand hockey, but they were just there and loving it, right? Like hopping over the boards. Like,
I do like the other club sport teams came out, right? Shout out beach volleyball, men's and women's ultimate, like way to collab with Liberty Hockey, especially women's beach volleyball. They did a great job. Like,
I saw on social media there was like some advertising post. And I was like, who are these people? Like I thought it was like some girl on our team because they were in the dressing room together.
Oh yeah, it was.
I was like, is this our new equipment manager? Like, how do I not know her? And then I was like, I read through or like saw later. I was like, oh, another team on campus. I loved it. Yeah, that was really awesome. But I mean, bottom line, it was awesome, and then it was a great game of hockey. Like 0-0, 1-0, and then Maryville had a ton of momentum in the third period. They were able to get one in there, descended into overtime, and then it's always super exciting. You know, second or third shift of overtime, Glenn gets the game winner.
Yeah.
Dude, and it was crazy. Haley Battles almost like put a highlight special.
Did
right,
she?
together.
I thought for sure she scored.
And I was like, if she gets one of those, that's top 10 easily. And then Maddie Glenn does Maddie Glenn things, you know.
I know,
out
right?
The hero
She's got
card,
that
right?
gene in her.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
no,
So,
for real.
And that was a huge. And then the next day was fantastic too. Like obviously Liberty just goes to work, right? Like kind of when you take out the number one team, you go up 5-0 on them. Like that's huge, right? That's got to give you a lot of confidence. And then same thing, kind of building off momentum from Adrian. And I will say too, like they are just getting this team was. It's early because we're only 4 games into the ACHA season, but like it's giving me vibes of that 22 championship team, right? Because of the depth. Like obviously that team went undefeated, right? But like the fact that you heard Brielle talk about it, right? Like there's so many. She was a freshman on that team, coming in with a lot of talented veterans, kind of, and they meshed together, which obviously went to have on the best year that women's programs ever had. But like this is the team it's giving me those same feelings, right? Like there's a ton of depth. You can basically score on any line, right? Like I think like as they build throughout this season, they're going to just get better and better. And the fact that you played basically 2 of the best teams in the country, the defending champs and then the number 1 team in the country, and you were able to not only win the goal differential in both games and then come away with 3 victories, like that says a lot.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you have to give a huge shout out to Brooklyn Adams, freshman goaltender Brooklyn Adams in game number 2. She was incredible.
Unbelievable.
Asking a lot of the girls like, what were your thoughts? And you know, whenever you have a rookie starting a net, you get a little bit nervous, but man, she gained the respect of her team, the trust of her team, and then the goal they score is just a bad play by Liberty, basically a 2-on-0 down low, and who's going to save that, right? Just an unbelievable game for her. She's been working her butt off, so happy for her to see that. And then in game 1, Keith stood on her head for a lot of that game. Like I said, in that third period, Maryville had all the momentum, tons of shots on net, tons of great opportunities. And then the potential this weekend, goal of the year semester candidates with Brooklyn Beauchamp game 1, and then
absolutely
Sophia Adamak too in game 2, just another snipe on the power play.
Beauchamp is one of those girls. We've talked about like players developing.
Yeah.
She's in that category, right? Like first year didn't get a ton of playing time. Last year, you know, I think she's continuing the trend after that hat trick she got versus Indiana Tech. Like she's slowly been building, and like if she just keeps playing, like it was the game that got me looking like she could have a monster year this year was the Washington Pride.
Oh yeah,
right. Like
it was Pat on the group text was like, I can't remember what he said. Beauchamp putting in the work.
Oh yeah. They're on the PK, and then she they clear it. She beats out the defender going back, gets it behind their net, finds Haley Battles in front, and she tucks it home for a shorthanded goal. And I was like, if she can do that consistently throughout this year, she's going to have a monster season. And it's going to pave way for this team because it just adds to the depth of a dangerous Liberty team.
And what's exciting too is even with all of our veterans, they keep taking steps forward, getting better and better. And I mentioned this to Captain Brielle Fussy today, where I believe we were on the penalty kill and set up almost like a odd man rush fast break situation where she had to go scramble for the puck, and then came across the net and just like patient, waiting for a shot to place it. Whereas in years past, probably would have fired right away when she started to feel the defensive pressure. But yeah, when you could see those veterans keep getting better, your rookies getting all the confidence, and then all your returners contributing with two great goaltenders, that's something there. But the question I have for you, Rhett, in your hockey experience, you score a fantastic goal, and then you have a subpar celebration to it. Does that kind of taint the goal a little bit?
What was the celly?
Falling over when trying to jump or put your hands in the air or something like that. I can't exactly remember. So Brooklyn Beauchamp, unreal goal in game 1. And I'm like, wow, that's incredible. And then I look over and she's just on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, didn't hit the boards or get hit or anything. Just decided, like, I need a break. And,
I'm more of like
falls here.
I'm a bigger fan of just the chill celly.
Okay.
I'm not like, Ovechkin did like the hot stick and he was like that guy. I hate that.
All right.
I hate that in the game. So, no, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
That's
All
just
right.
me, though. I'm a traditionalist.
Yeah.
Even though I do like a bat flip here and there.
Oh.
I can be down with a bat flip.
Like
Like big
baseball.
moments.
In baseball.
Yeah. In baseball.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm
all
just
right.
saying, like, overall.
I was like, I don't think I've seen that one in hockey. Yeah.
Take a stick.
That'd be a good one.
Actually, no, don't do that. Don't do that, people. But yeah,
It's like the Trump dance. He throws the golf
Oh,
club
yeah,
in there
yeah,
at the
yeah.
end. I love it. It's so
I've seen
funny.
a bat flip go wrong though. It doesn't actually go out of the park. That's the worst when he flips the bat.
yeah.
Oh, no way.
So, like,
You
and
flip
someone
it too
catches
soon.
it?
You flip it too soon.
Have you ever seen like
I've seen that.
in the Chinese leagues they bat flip for singles? Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, they bat flip for anything.
Really?
Oh yeah, you should go check it out on YouTube. Like they.
Oh, I hate that because in my mind, I'm like, you could have been running while you're flipping that bat.
Yeah.
Like you could have been
No,
going farther.
there's moments where like bat flips are big. Like
Yeah.
the one for me like is Bautista with the Jays. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can't
Oh,
remember
yeah,
who he
yeah,
played.
yeah.
I think it
That
was the
was big.
Rangers. And massive home run to like win it, and the bat flip was like epic, right? I'm down with that.
On a walk off.
Yeah,
that's
like
the
that's
best.
okay.
Yeah.
You can do that. Like
Yeah.
there's moments where it's good, but like every home run you hit, if you're batting, like that, like
Yeah.
that's like where.
Yeah, it's like
white
act like you've
gloves,
been there before.
Yeah.
Maryville. So yeah, it's,
You mean
Mary.
Mary. Yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah. I just screwed up my own chirp. But it's one of those. It's one of those things.
Yeah. I gotta say though, their jerseys, I loved them for midnight.
Midnight. Oh,
Yeah.
sick.
They were
See,
good.
Absolutely
that's right. I heard they were going to be.
They were-
epic. I
they
gotta-
were-
They
yeah,
were
they were.
epic.
They
They
were.
delivered. They delivered.
Yeah.
But this upcoming weekend, the Lady Flames heading to St. Louis for the WMCH Showcase. So they'll be in St. Louis at the same time as the men's D2 team. They're going to face Maryville again. So they have Midland, then Maryville, and Jamestown. So I'm sure Maryville's looking to get one on the Lady Flames at some point this season. It's a good opportunity to do so. Also, I heard there's a WMCH All-Star game. We're not exactly sure who's going to be in it, right, Pat?
Yep. Not sure who the all stars are yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Take a couple days to calculate the votes.
Yes. Yes.
I'm on a roll today.
He's on a roll, yeah. So the Lady Flames back in action this weekend in St. Louis. They're trying to get a few more wins on the board. Now, men's D2, they had a weekend against Northeastern this past Friday, Saturday. They end up splitting. Game 1 looked like a great, it's what you expected when you're playing
Yeah.
Northeastern, 5-1, great game. But then, after the first period, you lose your captain, Josh Harrell. He doesn't come back for the second game. And then Anthony Emmy, a really outstanding freshman for them, isn't playing this past weekend. Josh Martin's been out for a long time. Game 2 just didn't have the same kind of fire and the same kind of consistency that you saw in the first game. So, it's not, one goal kind of kills you in the end. They end up getting the empty netter, and you walk away with a split when I'm sure you would have liked to get a pair of wins there, Pat.
Yeah, it's tough for Selke, right? Like back-to-back weekends, like he's actually played phenomenal.
Great.
Net,
Oh, yeah.
And it's unfortunate, like the offense isn't coming for Liberty like it was night one. And like going back to game 1, 2, because we're talking about goaltenders, Lane's gone. He's had 3 games now where you're like, oh yeah, that's the Lane Scon we've been waiting for this season, and he has just played phenomenal. So like that's huge. And he talked about the number of bodies. It's just kind of hopefully giving guys an opportunity. Like Jake Padgett, that's a guy I think like could move up in the lineup potentially with now guys out. He has just played great the last few weekends. His big brother Mark, along with Matt Lee and Kaner, that's the best line in the Southeast region.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question about how talented those 3 are, and I think gives a chance for Vidal move up as well, another young player, and so like, and the fact that Liberty is splitting with teams that truthfully are probably going to be ranked also in the top 5 of their respective regions, I think that's still good, right? Because you know, like, hey, we haven't been healthy since Florida Gulf Coast, and we saw what we could do when we're 100% together. So, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, this is their hallmark moment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
That's
there we
right.
go.
And so they're trying to just slowly get together, and they're about to have they're hopefully it'll lead to the happy ending we're hoping for.
I think too, and this is just me personally, if life gives you a lemon, take lemons from D3 and make lemonade. Call the kid up. He's been playing well.
That's pretty good.
Give him a shot. Give him a
Like
shot.
that. That's right.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Coach Wagner will not like that, but that's okay.
I know.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for the people.
That's
Yeah. Now you had Burchett this past weekend from D3 playing with D2, but yeah, like you were saying, Pat, getting the split is good, but I think just hearing some of the players talk about it afterwards, they're like, we know that this is not us.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we know that we're supposed to be getting a pair of wins in series like this, and honestly, it just comes down to, the consistency and putting in the work for the entire game. And so I think that you're in kind of a different position going into Lindenwood than you were last year. I think you were like winning 6 straight when you were heading
Right.
up for that Lindenwood series at this point last year. But now it's like, you dropped a series and you have 2 consecutive splits. It's like, we know that we can be doing better than that, and you're down a few bodies. It's kind of a tough situation when you're making that trip to St. Louis against a Lindenwood team. I believe they're undefeated right now.
Yeah, they're 11-0-1, so.
Yeah.
I think the message, though, has to be for the team. It's like, hey, guys, this is the hand that we've been dealt for the season.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is our adversity season. Let's just buy into it. Young guys that are going to get playing time that otherwise may not have, learn. Like, you need to learn right now. Soak it all in, because when it all comes together, hopefully at Nationals, and you have healthy bodies, all of a sudden you have a well-equipped machine that's ready
sure.
to go. That has to be the message.
Yeah. And I think, too, like Rhett just said, like it gives chance potentially of a couple call-ups to come, and maybe they decide to keep him on the team, which might be the case right now. Could hurt D3, so sorry about that, Coach Wags, but I think for surely this is something for D2. And then, like I said, I still think you've put in enough body of work to put yourself still in a good position, because we all know this is the last year of the auto rankings, which we're not going to get into that right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's right. But I think you've put yourself in a good position to potentially secure one of those auto bids early, and just continue to build off that body of work. And then, like Rhett said, right, like you're hoping to start just slowly get healthier as this year progresses, and then when it matters most, lock in that auto bid and then go make some noise at Nationals.
Yeah. And I got to throw this in here when we're talking about lemons.
Yeah.
So I got to do play-by-play a few weeks back for the D2 team.
That's right.
And yeah. So I love just like finding the stories, right? There's some pretty crazy stories on that team. So Lemons and both the Paget brothers, they're cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a line with all 3 of them. Come on, just popcorn it at Nationals.
go,
Be
yeah.
like, this is a family line?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're cousins. They had never played on a team.
Family.
That's right.
No, they had never played on a team together before. I think that because he was from Washington and they were living in Alaska, and I think he went and lived with them for 2 or so years when they were 10, and they would play pond hockey together.
Okay.
That was about as far as it
Skating
went.
the river.
Yeah. And then, so this is the
Mystery
first.
Alaska.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great movie. What are you talking about?
It's one of those movies, truthfully, you back in the day, you're like, sorry, Andy, we told you.
No.
Yeah.
It's one of those
Oh,
movies
yeah.
that's like, you're like, oh, this movie's so great. And then you're like, I'll watch it with my kids. And then you turn on, you're like, what am I doing? What
It's not a kid-friendly movie.
No, no.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
don't know if it's a Liberty-friendly movie.
That's happened to me and my dad a few times. He's like, because we're like best friends when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I gotta show you this movie from back in the day. He turns it on. He's like, I do not remember this.
That's happened with my oldest daughter, Adelaide. She said to me, she's like, Dad, I don't know if I can trust your judgment with these movies.
Oh, no.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't remember this part
Yeah.
at all. Anyways,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
It happens.
That's funny.
It happens. But yeah, so they're cousins. And then also just a random little story. So Ben Hughes and the equipment manager for the D2 team. So his name is JP. And I guess when Ben Hughes was playing juniors in Chicago, he was his billet brother. So he lived
wow.
with JP's family,
That's
and JP
crazy.
was like 3 or 4, I believe. But he sent over some pictures. Actually, I'll send them to you, Pat.
Yeah.
Because I have pictures of the cousins too that we didn't actually get to use in the broadcast, so you can throw them in here.
Oh, that's
but
right. Put them up right now.
yeah, he was showing me pictures of them like back in the day when Hughes was playing junior hockey, and he's like
That's
a
really
little
cool.
baby, and
Wow.
so now
That's
all these
wild.
years later, they're on the same bench. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always fun to get to learn those little stories. Didn't get to share them last week.
How'd the
so we
power
didn't
play
pod.
go? I mean, sorry, how'd the play-by-play go?
Okay, so you actually, I had no voice.
Yeah.
Literally no voice. I was like, he scores. It was really bad, but I had a ton
Who's
of
that old lady?
Yeah.
I had a ton of fun. No, actually, it was
good.
funny. Someone listened
Annie
to it.
did great.
Did she?
She's
Good.
being modest. Like I listened to her do color the night before and then power play, and I was like, "Oh, Annie's got it. She sounded
There you go,
good."
Annie.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, I listened to Rhett all this time. I'm like, you know what? At least I'll just, mimic it, I guess. But it was a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun. Great pair of games to do. So it was a great time. Women's D2, guys. Let's get into them. They just keep on rolling. They had they had 4 games this past weekend.
Yeah.
They've had, was that back-to-back
Yeah,
weekends
back-to-back
with 4
weekends.
games?
Yep.
Man, they're getting their ice time in. They won 9-2 and 15-0
Oh my goodness!
against Georgia Southern. But
Canceled the program.
Yeah.
no, I
New team.
have a
That's
story.
what it is.
Yeah, I have a story about this. So I found out from one of the players in the women's D2 team. So apparently Georgia Southern, like it might have been their first series like ever.
Really?
They don't know yet, but like
wow.
they made them like take a picture after the game. So they're like, this must be like a pretty big deal for
Okay,
them.
yeah.
But they decided to fly instead of drive.
Oh wow.
And like half their team got left at the airport
Oh goodness.
from like delays and stuff.
Oh, wait.
Face. He
Wait.
was like, what?
Like
Yeah.
their gear or
No,
like
the
their
players.
bodies?
The players.
Were they on separate flights?
I guess so. I just
All
heard
right.
that
All right,
event.
all right, girls. You just need to book your own flight.
Yeah.
We'll get there at
We're
this
going
time.
on the 6
Yeah.
a.m.er. I'm not doing that. I'm going on the 8.
Yeah, so I don't know like the exact details of what happened, but like at some point like Liberty was giving them their players to play.
wow.
Yeah, so it was tough for them, and brand new program,
Yeah.
trying to get their feet under them, and they were having a great time getting to play a team like Liberty.
good.
So they loved it, but then
Join the rink.
yeah, enjoying the rink, the facilities. But yeah, then they were saying after that, we were kind of like, oh, we got to get it in gear now because we have a game the next couple
Yeah.
days against some quality opponents, and we're kind of used to playing like, not saying they're a bad team, but they're a team without half their players.
Yeah. Well, you
know.
learn bad habits in that. for
Yeah,
sure. I get
yeah,
that.
but that obviously didn't happen because they go and they beat Villanova, and then they beat Navy at the Crab Pot Invitational. Sounds like a pretty fun invitational.
7-hour drive and they flew.
Yeah.
No, are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm still hung up on that. I'm sorry. 7 hours.
That is really. That's a great point.
They're from like Savannah area.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what they're wondering too.
Yeah.
But
Gotta go
Probably
through.
would take longer to get here via plane in that
Yeah.
regard.
Yeah.
By the time you have to
Sorry, yeah.
Maybe their school has a like if you go through 3-state policy, like I don't know.
Yeah, actually, some
They got to fly
yeah,
or something.
That's a possible. I will say, Savannah, Georgia, is gorgeous.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must have. They must,
It's not Ohio, but it's
must have a
pretty
booming airport there as
It's
well.
not Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cleveland.
That's right.
Right there. Yeah, but then
crazy.
I know it's pretty
7
wild.
hours. I don't know. I'm
It's
sorry.
pretty wild. This is just what I've heard. So
Okay.
little bits and pieces could be incorrect, but that's what I got. The
sounds
overall gist of it.
interesting.
So.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting weekend. Rihanna Cruz, great performance. Brooklyn Vortman, Cora Williams. It just seems like this is a group that's clicking early. Pat, is this the best start? Do you
Yes.
think in women's
Oh, yeah.
history? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the hottest team at Liberty Hockey right
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And like honestly, if they're not number one in the Southeast region, you need to throw those rankings away.
Yeah.
Because
DVCHCC
exactly,
or
like
whatever.
literally, they would because they've played opponents in 3 different conferences now.
Yeah.
You are number one currently in your current conference in the DVCHC. Your old conference, the CHE, you would be the number one team right now this year. In the ACCHL, you be the number one team there, right? Like,
Right, yeah.
So like, if you are not the number one team in the Southeast, there's something wrong. Like this is, they have just been on a tear. And yeah, I mean, this is a team, I think like multiple girls, like the most All-Americans they've had at one point is 2. And that was years ago. Like this year, I could easily see 3 or 4 girls making all first or second
awesome.
team
Yeah.
from the All-American group because they have, and going off of that, Walhoff should be the program's first 2-time All-American because she's on pace right now to have more points than she had last year. So
Yeah.
And that girl's at the rink more than anyone.
that's right.
She's always working. She must work 60 hours a week. I don't get it.
We'll love to see the Lady Flames performing well. 11-1 right now, and they're off for a week. Then they're going to host the ACC-HL Showcase on November 15th through 17th. So it'll be fun to see them in action at home. And then our men's D3 Flames, they were in Charleston. They come away with a pair of wins there. Great to see. I know, they've been dealing with kind of the same thing as men's D2, sending their guys up. Lemons was gone last week. He was back this weekend. Had a really big performance, 3 goals, 3 assists, as well as Stroik also having 3 goals, 3 assists.
I know my eyes are getting old, but it does say Lemons, 3 goals, 3 assists. I do believe.
There was lemonade, yeah.
That's right.
So, then you had Burchette gone this past weekend playing with D2 as well. So, plug and play. Guys showing up when they need to. Next man up. Also, great to hear that Eric Abate is okay. I know he took a hard hit in one of their games against Charleston. A lot of people were concerned, but he's doing well. So, awesome to hear. And, they're going to take on App State this weekend, but solid couple of weekends for the men's D3 team.
Yeah, and I think that's all it is, right? Like, it's just about getting games consistently played. And, I know we've talked about it with Coach Wagner off the pod and even last year at the end of the season. It's just hard when teams cancel on you or the schedule doesn't unfold the way you want. And, for him, able to just get consistent games for his team, get momentum going. This is a group that he believes that could not only make noise at the conference tournament and potentially win the conference championship, but then also to potentially make it finally out of pool play at AU Nationals. And then we all know anything can happen from that.
Yeah, absolutely. So men's D3 hosting a home game, this home series against App State this next weekend. So we're going to have our men's D1 team with Ohio and the App State Mountaineers coming to town. Those are our only 2 teams at the Lehigh Ice Center this weekend, but exciting. Should be a good couple series, especially Ohio. Can't wait for
It'll be fun.
the Bobcats to come to town. It's going to be a ton of fun, but we're looking forward to it. Thank you guys for joining us on the Rock the Rink podcast, and we'll see you next time.